That's great. When there's more, the more people, the better. Because if they want $40,000 for a house, there's four of them. It's 10 grand each. You could say, look, I wouldn't even say the price. Say, if I could get you, just like you said, Carson, if I could get you $7,500 each, would you do that? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's all about, it's so much easier than if it's just one person, for sure.
Yeah, which is funny, but it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Like I remember before I even closed my first deal, I was listening to the TTP podcast that Todd tipped me off to. And then like I kept hearing stories of people finding these people in probate who 5 people had inherited the house and they use that as negotiating. So when I came across this lead, I was like, oh, perfect. Like immediately was just like this podcast I listened to a year and a half ago is going to help me with this because I remember that situation. But yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
I have a question. D, go ahead and you can unmute yourself. I think you can unmute yourself. Unless Todd has to.
Oh, no, I don't think so, but I'll try it. Is it the AD? You got a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now.
Yeah, I kind of got on a little late, so I don't know if this is the right forum for the question, but this is my first time with y'all, and wanted to find out about wholesaling, how to get into it. I do work in finance and real estate, and I've done some deals for people who have been wholesaling, but never really had a chance to really find out how to get into it. And it's kind of interesting. Is everybody here mostly Detroit and Michigan, or that's just by coincidence?
Yeah, I'm in Detroit. Carson's in the Flint area.
Okay.
I'm in and around Flint, Detroit, Macomb County,
Okay.
Oakland, and Bud's on the line right now. He's a buyer from New York. Anyone else on here right now that's not in like Wayne County, Oakland County, just let us know.
Yeah, I took Bud's number down because I'm in New Jersey. I'm from New York. I live in Jersey. I'm right outside of New York City Metro, but I don't want to bore you on my story. So my wife was from Detroit. She passed away 4 years ago, a couple weeks ago from cancer. But I have Detroit. That's my heart, big time. And I want to do a lot of stuff in Detroit. And then even Flint, I've gone up to Flint and some other places out there. It's been over. I got married in 2000, so I know Detroit very well from visiting. But it's interesting. I didn't know this was going to be a form like that. But more importantly, I really am looking for the wholesaling thing, no matter where it's at. And I know it's a certain process to get into it and how to do it. And if y'all are familiar with that, I would love to hear some information on how to get into that and how to do it right. And I don't need all the information tonight. I know sometimes it takes a while to get some information.
Where do you live right now?
I'm in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm right outside Manhattan. I don't know if you're familiar. Bud might recognize it. He's out this way, but I'm right. No, so Newark Airport.
Yeah, I used to know some wholesalers out there in Newark, New Jersey. But we usually have topics for these meetings, but it's just been crazy. These past couple weeks we haven't had topics. But we've gone like Todd has a YouTube. So the beginning of this year, we were like really structured as far as wholesaling. The first was how to get your first wholesale deal. And then we broke it down into like 4 different segments over the next month. And it was like how to pull the list to find your first wholesale deal, how to talk to the seller on your first wholesale deal, how to sell your first wholesale deal. So those, I would recommend watching those 100%.
Okay.
There's a ton of, and I think he posted his YouTube. There's a ton of other people on YouTube that you can listen to and learn about wholesaling. What it comes down to though, is like, you either have to put in hours of talking to sellers. You're gonna have to talk to sellers either way. You can do that with hours of cold calling, which is really effective. And that's a great way to get into it. And it sounds like just the way you're talking, like you would be good on the phones. I don't think you have a problem talking to people.
No.
And then you can, unless you have money, if you got money, you can pay for sellers to call you. You can do PPC, you can do direct mail, you can do bandit signs, and then you'll have motivated sellers calling you, which is easier. But we've all just gone like the cold calling route. So in like the week we did on acquisitions, how to find the deals, we talk about like where to get your list for cold calling. And then we talk about, if you want to do bandit signs, how to do that as well. So that's kind of like just the rundown. I don't know how much you know about it or anything.
Yeah.
So.
And if you are able to find sellers, you could always, since you're out of state, you could always squat up with someone, myself, Carson, or someone else They could run the appointment for you. We could find that, I squat up with a lot of people, where they'll bring me a deal. I might finish it, I might sell it, and we split the profits, so that
Yeah,
is something.
I'm definitely down for that. So my sister, both my wife's sisters live in Detroit. They're right in east side of Detroit, if y'all know Detroit. Outer Drive and out by the 7 Mile.
Yeah, I know it well.
By the cemetery, by the airport. You know what the old airport.
Yep. What do you remember the street name?
But she's right off of Connor.
Oh,
she's on Algonac, right down off of Connor, right by the railroad tracks down that way.
Yeah, I know it well. Okay.
And Outer Drive east, closer to like I can't remember tell you, but Outer Drive goes all the way around, but not too far away from there.
Yeah, there's a street called Gunston right there.
Yeah,
Gratiot. The air, Christie is a side street over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So my spot is, my spot is a steak spot over in Gratiot that I go to out there. If you know about it, is everybody knows about this way. But saying all that is, so I have clothes at her house because with Frontier, I can fly from Trenton out there for the day. So that's what I'm looking to do and partner with somebody or just, as Bud Rim mentioned, he has property management out there. Y'all have mentioned some things too. And I think, like y'all said, it's a good way to get into price wise. I'm in New Jersey, New York. Prices are ridiculously crazy out here, no matter what, to get started. I mean, South Jersey's not too bad, but still, I think it's a good opportunity. So I would love to have an opportunity to talk to y'all on that.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah, I'm in White Lake
and
all the time.
And the steak spot is Capers. If you know about Capers, it's one of the best steak spots in Detroit.
Yep. For sure.
To jump in, that's why I moved. I'm sorry. That's why I moved to the Detroit market because the prices in New York, New Jersey, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Newark. I mean, I if I have to go to the airport, or I go there if I'm going down on the 95 corridor. I'm in the city, so I'm close to GW Bridge. So I'm like 45 minutes away from you. But
were you at Yonkers, Bronx?
No,
Manhattan?
I'm in Manhattan.
Okay. Yeah, my brother's in Harlem, so you're right across from Yankee Stadium, so I know exactly where you are.
Yeah, I'm close by Columbia Hospital, so I literally
next
to the bridge. So 168. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm around this area. Yeah.
I crashed my car on the George Washington Bridge in 2017, and I went to Columbia Hospital. That's where the ambulance took me.
Yeah, I put my number in the chat, so in case if anyone wants to connect, or I'm always open to relationship, but like talking, and I like to talk to like-minded individuals about investing. But I like the Detroit market. I mean, I was actually looking at some of the stuff on Flint also because I just like the prices. It's pretty good, but it's once you could get a right team to help you for the management and the renovation costs, you can factor all that in.
And I think too, I don't know if y'all agree, and y'all probably remember this. New Jersey has the highest property taxes in the country, and the property taxes make a big difference in your profit margin, and so. That's another reason too. Not only just price, the taxes it eats into your profit margin.
Yeah, I think Flint has the lowest property taxes in the country.
Mm-hmm. And they just said in the news that one of the 10 cities of the most people buying because of the remote thing is Grand Rapids, Michigan. I went to Grand Rapids for a wine. They have a big wine beer festival every year in Grand Rapids. And my first time being it was like about 3 years ago, and it was an amazing city. And I was like, wow. And they said Grand Rapids was like number 2 on the list for most people moving to in the country at this point right now.
Wow. Good to know.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. And Flint is not too, it's not that far from Detroit, even Flint. It's not that far away.
No.
There was on Bigger Pocket, the rookie podcast, I think 3 weeks ago, there was a rookie investor. And she and her husband, well, I think the husband is from Michigan, but she's from California, and they're investing. They got 15 doors within 2 years in Grand Rapids because I think the husband, his parents, they're investors in Grand Rapids, and she had some good things about Grand Rapids. I think it's a little more pricey, but the numbers, it all depends on the numbers you work the numbers. But I've heard good things about Grand Rapids. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that information, and I'll look your information up on that YouTube channel, and I got the numbers for Todd, and I got the number for Broad Ram too.
Awesome. Yeah, anyone else, feel free to put your information in the chat box, your name, cell number, email. If you're a wholesaler, if you're a buyer, if you're a contractor, I always keep all these names and, um, you never know, talking to people.
Yeah. Just to everyone, I mean, yeah, I probably said it before, but I don't know. I've known Todd for quite some time, and I did bought, I think, 4 or 5 houses from him, and he's a real deal. We've doing business for quite some time, and I would definitely use him again to do business. I really appreciate it. So just not to, put him on, but he's a real deal. I've done some business with him, and he's a real guy, and I would look forward to doing more business with him and his team.
I'll cash app you right now.
Okay. $20, McDonald's.
I just bought a flip today in New Hudson, guys, and the cool thing is I'm there. I was meeting an electrician and my clean out lady, or my demo lady, because we're gonna demo the kitchen and baths and the floors and a bunch of other stuff. And while I was there waiting, the neighbor across the street came over. He thought we were gonna move into it, and fix it and move into it. But I told him what we were doing. Man, he gave me so much information. And then he shows me this house right next door to his. And he goes, man, this house has been vacant for 2 years. This is like a $400,000 neighborhood. And he tells me the story. He goes, yeah, boyfriend and girlfriend bought it. They got in an argument, and they both left and never came back. So I'm definitely, I will have their names and numbers by the end of the night tonight. I'll be calling tomorrow and trying to get that property. I'm sure they had a mortgage. I'm sure they're behind and all that good stuff, but this is the time I could take over. I could do all kinds of different things with that one. I hope to have another. I'd love to be flipping 2 houses on the same street. That'd be pretty neat.
That is sweet. I'm still trying to work that one deal, Todd and Fenton, the huge rehab, man. I just can't. I got to get an offer together for those people. 150 on it, needs 150 in rehab, worth like 400 fixed up. But there's also $28,000 in insurance money that they get once it's fixed up, and then $48,000 in bank money they get for fixing it up to help pay for the contractors. So there's enough spread there to make a deal happen. I've just been too lazy to put it together because I've never done anything in this high end of an area. Like, I'm wholesaling $30,000 houses, so this is a bit different for me. And like, I understand the numbers out here, but I don't know buyers. I don't know how my buyers would react to something like that. And then there's just so many moving parts, like, because I have to do subject to, I want to do subject to. So the 150 they owe, I want to contract that subject to, so I don't have to come out of pocket the 150, or my buyer does it. That way my buyer only has to come out of pocket the money to fix it up. But then we also have to deal with the bank. Like, what if the buyers don't get that bank money? What if they don't get that insurance money? Then they're screwed. So I'm just trying to figure out a way where, everyone's happy 100%. So I got to work on that one tomorrow, but that's been kind of a crazy one. And then like my buddy, I literally was just texting my buddy about this deal while Todd was talking, and he wants to go in on it with me, but it's going to take him 8 months to finish it. And that's going to put us, in November. November's not a great time to sell of the year, A, but B, like, who knows what kind of market we're going to be in. So I don't want to have 200 grand sitting in a house, 150 grand that we might not be able to sell. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's just a weird deal.
Yeah, be careful. Definitely be careful. We're going to have a good spring, a good summer, but just don't get caught, with too many flips going on at once. Always have plan B, plan C, different types of exit strategies going on,
Yeah, that's what I'm nervous about. I don't want to take on this big of a project, but we'll see. I got to run the numbers tomorrow. I'd probably just want to wholesale this one anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Carson, do you live in Michigan, or what's your area of expertise of where you live at?
I live in Flint.
Oh, you are in Flint, so you live there. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I got an office here. Todd and I meet up sometimes, in White Lake in his office, which is like 30 minutes from Flint. So yeah, I'm local here, but yep.
Yeah.
And this is where all
Carson,
my
you did-
rents
yeah.
are.
You just want to be careful with the way the market is going, because you never know, it could turn anytime. With all this moratorium, and we don't know if there will be foreclosures. So you just got to be careful. 8 months. Putting $200,000 in 8 months. You don't know what's going to happen in November, December. So it's just to be cautious or have a plan B. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking, because once I start it, I can't really stop it. So as soon as I close on it, I'm just hoping from that point on. So I'd rather pass it off to somebody who can get done quicker, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my flip. I think it's going to take 5 weeks before we could get it listed. So it's a no-brainer. It's quick. When you have 5 or 6 or 7 of things going on, and it starts taking longer on these other flips. So you got to know what you're capable of. I'm only capable of 1 or 2 at a time. And some people could do 5, 10 at a time, but not me.
I mean, that's
Todd,
just because that's what we focus on.
Todd, you know what I've never done in Detroit, in Michigan? I've never done a flip, and I always like the idea of doing a flip. So if ever anything comes up your desk that it's, I know you get stuff all the time, but we could talk maybe off here about a flip that I would,
Yeah, sure.
If I want to be in like maybe 2 months, put it in and, in and out. I don't want something that's going to take forever, because in that way I want to, at least be out of 2 months, renovation, at least 6 weeks, and put it in the market for 6 to 8 weeks.
So being out of state, you got a couple of ways of doing it. One is you partner up with a contractor, or you hire a project, or partner up with a project manager, or somebody that could, handle it while you're here. I mean, while you're not here. For you trying to do it from out of state without having someone to be your eyes and ears, 99% chance it's going to take a long time. You're going to spend a lot more money, and it's not going to be what you thought. So I know people that I could always hook you up with that they might be able to project manage the whole thing for you. I wouldn't, not that you even asked me, but I wouldn't have the time to do that. But I do know some good people that would be able to do that. And they got a lot of experience. They could project manage it and make sure it gets done and sold and everything else. So, I could, if that's something you're thinking about, those are my suggestions, how to do it.
Yeah, thanks. I like the idea of project managing instead of partnering with a contractor or someone. Yeah, so in that way, I have somebody maybe doing a weekly scheduled checkup and make sure the floors are done, the plumbing is intake, electrical is taken care of, things like that. Yeah, I prefer to have a project manager to oversee the job and keep me, on updates and what's going on, and then I'll probably have a realtor at the end buy it at the end to buy it, and also he or she's going to be able to do a punch list and say, hey, bud, you know what, the GFI is not installed. We need, things like that, or the paint needs touch up for the, so those are things I could, leverage my realtor to do. And yeah, I like the idea of a project manager.
Yeah. And there's a couple people I know and a couple inspectors. A good project manager might be, an inspector that's always
home
out
inspector,
and about,
yeah,
knows what he's doing, things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But, but the one thing about
I have a question too, Mr. Todd.
Yes.
Not a question, I mean a statement. My first time on here, but I got your number, so I hope going forward that we'll have a relationship going forward. So one of the things with my family out there, when I'm out in Detroit with my sisters, they grew up out there, especially the east side. Some are on west side, but most of this is east side. But same with the west side too. There's very lucrative opportunity, but some neighborhoods are very bad.
Yep.
And as what Burham's talking about, so if anybody wanted to reach out to me and they have a property and they want to know what really is going on that, you can go in Detroit on the east side and 2 blocks are really bad, but the third block is not that bad. But some blocks are really bad. And sometimes that is a good opportunity, but you may not be ready for that right now out that way. And so if anybody does want to reach out to me and Bud Rum or anybody out there that's looking to do that, we drove through And it was amazing because some blocks are like completely empty, but only 2 or 3 people living there. But then they're like, these blocks are just really notoriously bad and been bad for years. Drugs, crime, whatever the case may be. But other blocks are bad, but it's not a bad block. It's a good block for investing because it's a family block, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if anybody wants to, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I put my number in there and I can get that information for you. And that's people that's living there. You know, these people are living in the area and they know the area very well.
Well, that's one thing that I grew up on the west side, D, in Brightmoor, and you could talk to your family, ask them if they heard of Brightmoor. It's like the worst area around.
Yeah, I heard. I got some people here in New Jersey that are from there. They live out here now. We hung out in the west side. He got like a whole bunch of cousins out there. Yeah, and it's a big Hispanic area out that way too, right?
That's Southwest Detroit is the Hispanic area.
That's the Southwest. Okay.
Yeah, that's a hot area now. And so that's one thing that I know pretty much any zip code, any street of Detroit. And like you said, if you don't know, Detroit could eat you alive pretty fast. So it depends on the person, the investor, and their risk tolerance, right? So someone might not want to buy a nice brick property on a bad block, and some others would. So it just depends. But if it's just a horrible block, you might want to stay away from it unless it's given to you, things like that. So definitely.
The same way Flint is, it's all street by street. Just gotta get someone you trust out there to be boots on the ground for you. Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Any other questions before we wrap it up, guys?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
What you got, Lorraine?
Okay. What about the Houston Whittier area? Are you familiar with that?
Yep.
Okay. How about that one? That area, is that good?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
But there's some, you know what? There's investors. I got them on my buyers list. They buy those areas. It all depends on the area. The property is going to depend on the price you're going to pay. So if it's a bad area, beat up house, I might be getting these houses for $5,000 or less. And if you get a house for $5,000 and depending on the condition, you put 5, 6, you might sell it to a handyman that does the work themselves and they rent it themselves, or someone in the neighborhood that might buy it, things like that. So there's any house can be, I looked at a house today in 48224 Berkshire. Back before the market crashed, this was $100,000 house. Now the house it's a bad little spot, but then you go a couple blocks away and you got some good houses. But if you gave me this house for $1, they let it go so bad and the basement walls were falling down. They let this house go so bad. I wouldn't buy it for $1, because I don't think I could sell it for 3,000 or 4,000. It's that far gone. It needs to be torn down, in my opinion. So, but if it was a decent house in that same area and it needed $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 worth of work, then I would have took it for $1,000 or $2,000 and probably made $3,000 or $4,000 on it. So
that's the thing with being a wholesaler. And this is what I say all the time. Like if somebody's willing to pay cash for a house, period, that house is a wholesale deal. As long as you get under what they're willing to pay. So I don't care where the house is. I don't care if I would never buy it myself in the area. I don't care if I would not feel comfortable going in that area. I'm going to get that deal if it's a deal, because it doesn't matter what I think about the house. If somebody else is willing to pay more, then it's a deal. Like I got a deal for $20,000 that needed like $8,000 in work, and the highest comp was like $35,000 in the area. And I didn't really want it as a rental, but I sold it for $30,000 as is. Highest comp is 35 and needs $8,000 in work. I don't know, like it doesn't matter to me that might not been a great deal. I would never pay 30 for it myself. Somebody else did. So I made 10 grand.
But they might have, there's a couple of reasons why they bought it. One, the ROI could have been 20% or higher. Number two, someone in the family nearby or something wanted to live in the house, you know, so to them, so it's not really our job to figure out actually why, but you're able to turn the house. I guess it helps if we know why, you know, we can always learn and get better, but the ROI was probably the factor there. $30,000 house in Flint. If you rent it for $650 in Flint, that's like $850 in Detroit because the taxes are cheaper and the insurance is cheaper probably. And there's, you know, so.
Yeah, and they said at closing, they
probably
said,
was pretty good.
yeah, it's a good neighborhood for rentals too. Like you're gonna get solid tenants in that neighborhood. I'm sure that's why they bought it. And they told me at closing, yeah, there's just no other ways to find properties besides wholesalers these days. So we just had to buy it. And that was a inventory thing. And like the market's high right now. So I'm pricing myself really aggressively. Like Mike and I, we contracted a deal yesterday that we passed on in December. And ever since we passed on, I just had this feeling like we need to get that deal. Like it's just something we need to get that deal. So we contracted yesterday, and I got an offer already for $25,000 over what we contracted it for. And we passed on it like 3 months ago. But I was just thinking like buyers are aggressive right now. I mean, so it just depends what your buyer's willing to pay. And I know buyers are willing to pay a lot right now. So that's what I'm going to sell my houses for.
Nice.
I'll take advantage of it.
It's a good, definitely a good way to look at it for sure.
Yeah.
I could use some assistance. I asked because I do have a house on Houston Whittier. And I just wanted to know because I was planning on moving into it at first. But my nephew, he ended up murdered. He was murdered right down the street from there, probably not even 3-4 houses away. It probably was right around the corner. My mom showed me that it was super close where I planned to buy the house at, and we went scavenging hunting for my nephew and found him wrapped in a carpet dead. So my plan was to just sell the house and get rid of it because I'm not sure if I can live in it knowing what happened really close.
Right. Do you own the house you said, Lorraine?
Yes, it's in my company's name.
Okay. Well, if you can reach out to me tomorrow, we could talk about it. And if you want to sell it, I could give you some ideas.
Okay.
For
Okay.
sure.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Any other questions? Cool. All right. Yeah. We're gonna do this every Wednesday. We'll probably try to post something. We'll try to figure out a topic. Please reach out to us. Tell us some topics you want us to talk about, or give you more information on and things like that. I'm sure the meetups are going to start up here soon. Again, I know there's one that I know of on, I think in Troy area, Rochester, and I know we're going to start one in Flint area, Carson and I, and hopefully soon. And I'm gonna start one in Downriver in like the Lincoln Park area. So for sure. So if there's no other questions, remember, squat up, reach out to us. Let us know if we can help you anyway.
Post in the Facebook group what you want the topic to be. I'm sure there's somebody who wants to hear about something. So if you want to know, if you're curious about anything real estate related, just post in that group or message me or Todd, and we'll try to go over that topic next week.
Do you have, Carson, what's your contact information? Can you post that? Or chat in the
I'll do that right now.
Okay.
His contact information is mine. Just kidding.
All right, guys. Thanks for all the thing. Good night. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Hey guys.
Good night.
Real nice, y'all.
Money Mike, you okay, man? You didn't say a word.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Sweet,
Yep, just listening in.
sweet, sweet.
All right.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys.
You guys. We Audi 5000.